Our main goal of the project was to explore science behind the perfect guacamole. We combined the knowledge gained throughout the year in three science subjects: biology, chemistry, and physics. Ingredients used in the making of this project were Hass avocados, lemon, cling foil, onions, oil, salt, pepper, a paper bag, glass containers, and optional tomatoes. First, we're going to give you an overview of how each science is involved in this project. For biology, Hass avocados are one of the most popular type of avocados because they are especially exquisite in taste. Recent studies have given insight to the DNA of Hass avocados. The results have shown that Hass avocados share 61% of the DNA with Mexican varieties and 39% with Guatemalan ones. Having information on the genome of avocados can help boosting production as well as the quality of the fruit itself. In terms of physics, to speed up the ripening process, it can help to put several avocados in a paper bag or wrap them in newspaper because the dense texture of paper will trap a gas inside that speeds up the ripening of the avocados. And then chemistry played the biggest role in our project because taste often is a result of several chemical reactions. Understanding those reactions has helped us improve taste and aesthetics of our end product. I'm sure you have all heard of the trick to put avocados in paper bags or wrap them in newspaper to support the avocados in ripening faster. But what's the science behind it? If you put avocados with bananas or apples or tomatoes or more avocados in the paper bag, the fruits will emit ethylene gas that will be trapped by the paper bag and will speed up the ripening of the avocados. Bananas work best as they are the fruit that emit the most ethylene gas. However, this trick can make the avocado ripe within 1 day, so make sure to check on them daily to avoid overripe avocados. Here you can see avocados in different states in the ripening process. The first one is underripe and is the initial state of the experiment. The second avocado is perfectly ripe and has been in a paper bag with two more avocados for about 2 days. The third avocado is overripe and has been in a paper bag for 4 days with two more avocados. For guacamole, you would want perfectly ripe avocados as they are best in taste. Texture-wise, however, it is okay if the avocado is a bit overripe because it makes the guacamole creamier and it is easier to mash the avocados. Underripe avocados often have very little taste and are very hard, which makes it difficult to impossible to mash them. A fun fact about avocados is that they don't actually ripe on the tree, but they ripe after they have been removed from the tree. The next stage of the experiment was to explore the effect of different fruit in the paper bag after 3 days. The first avocado was in the paper bag with another avocado. It riped well and had the best taste and texture out of the three. The second avocado was alone in the paper bag. It was still not quite ripe after the 3 days and had a rather watery taste, but it was closer to the first avocado in terms of texture. The third avocado was put with a banana. It tasted bad but still had a good texture. These results could have been affected by different states of ripeness when we started our experiment, but due to avoiding food waste, I decided not to repeat the experiment, even though repeating the experiment would have gotten me more accurate results.
The goal for this experiment is to find different ways to prevent the guacamole to turn brown and alter its taste. Now, avocados turn brown because their cells are exposed to air and begin to oxidize. Therefore, I have to attempt different ways in preventing cells to being exposed to air. Because every avocado is a little different in its fruition and texture, and I want them the same for every guacamole to set even conditions, I used 6 avocados, 1 teaspoon of salt, and 2 teaspoons of paprika powder. These might influence the results in a systematic error. Then I put an equal amount of the guacamole in 6 glasses. to see the degree of oxidation, if we can look on the side. I use different methods. First of all, I tried a glass of guacamole without any countermeasures. The second was guacamole that was covered in lemon juice on top because the acid should build a protective layer around the cells, preventing them to oxidize. After that, I used guacamole with olive oil on top with the same effect desired. After that, I used the guacamole with a layer of water on top because the water prevents the guacamole to oxidize because it insulates it from air. In the second last attempt, I used a guacamole next to onions because my research suggested that onions release sulfur gases into the air, which could delay the oxidation. And the last attempt was to use plastic foil to protect the guacamole from air, as the water should. The pictures above are in the same order. And as can be seen, the first hour shows no significant change in any attempt. The second hour shows the first signs of oxidation, in particular in one, with a slight browning on top. After 3 hours, we see a very nice thin layer of oxidized cells on top of the guacamole. The olive guacamole is also starting to turn brown, while water and lemon juice remain the same. The onions also have a slight brownish color to it. As for the plastic foil, had no protective measure whatsoever. After 4 hours, we see a clear, distinct brown color on the guacamole without countermeasures. The lemon juice basically stays the same, while the olive turned more brownish in this hour. The water remained the same, while the onion guacamole and the guacamole with the plastic foil started to brown even further. After hour 5, the brown for the guacamole without countermeasures just got a little bit darker. For lemon juice, we see a little bit of brown at the crests where the guacamole is not completely covered by lemon juice. The olive oil guacamole just turned a little bit more brown, but at a very slow rate. The water stayed perfectly the same. While the onion guacamole also turned to more intense brown, as did the plastic foil covered one. After 6 hours, the brown basically stayed the same, but now we can clearly see the degree of the oxidation, and we see only the top layer gets brown. The lemon juice just basically stayed the same. The olive guacamole, now we can clearly see a difference in the brown. It's getting darker and more intense, while the water stays perfectly the same. The onion guacamole now also turns to more intense brown. We can clearly see the layer of oxidation, while the plastic foil covered one basically is at the same state as the first one. Hour 7, almost nothing changed between hour 6 and hour 7, except the lemon juice, who just got a little bit more brown at the crests, but overall there's almost no oxidation. And the olive, because now we can clearly see a very, very thin layer of oxidation. The onions and the plastic foil guacamoles basically showed no signs of visual change. Now, after 8 hours, we can talk about the results. The guacamole without the countermeasures and the one with the plastic foil got brown the most, because for both there was enough air to oxidize clearly. The onion guacamole delayed the oxidation slightly in its degree, but still got brown to a very dark level. The guacamole with the olive oil protected the cells fairly well, but still got slightly brown. The guacamole with the lemon juice on top protected the cells pretty well and only got brown on the tips because there wasn't enough lemon juice on them. The guacamole with the water held out the best, not showing any oxidation at all. Underneath the oxidized cells, for each attempt, the guacamole stayed fresh, protected by a layer of oxidized cells. I used several test subjects to grade the guacamoles on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being completely different and disgusting, not being related to avocado at all, and 6 being like a fresh avocado. So for attempt 1, without any countermeasures, I got the average rating of 5, meaning that the brown is a little bit smushy, but still tastes good. For the attempt with the lemon juice, I got a 2, because the lemon juice made the guacamole bitter. For the attempt with the olive oil, I got a 3 as an average, because the oil gives an interesting flavor, but it covers a lot of the flavor of the guacamole. For the water attempt, I got an average of 4, with the water dulling the taste of the original avocado. And for the onions and the plastic foil, I got the same results as for the one without countermeasures, being the rating of 5. So, in conclusion, the best version would just be to let the avocado be and then either scrap the top brown off or mix it under, because the brown actually has no healthy hazard, just tastes a little different. However, the water method was the best and successful one to preserve the aesthetics. So far, the results could have been influenced by the salt and the paprika, but that would be a systematic error.
Trick with leaving the pit in the guacamole helps preventing the guacamole from turning brown. The reason as to why leaving the pit in the avocado might prevent brownness is very simple. It's because the pit prevents oxygen to oxidize in the avocado. If the cut part of the avocado will be covered with the plastic film, it will have an even better effect because the whole surface area will be prevented from oxidizing. Another hack regarding the prevention of browning of the avocado is dripping some lemon juice over the cut half. We found out that the discoloration or the browning is caused by so-called polyphenol oxidase. There are enzymes that cause fruits and veggies to oxidize by acting upon phenolic compounds. Citric acid keeps the fruit from browning because it is full of ascorbic acid, meaning the oxygen reacts with ascorbic acid first before reacting with the cut surface area of the avocado. The reason that avocado turns brown at the place where it has been cut is because it is being oxidized. Oxidation is the process of atoms losing the electrons from the energy level that is furthest away from the nucleus. Our prediction is that lemon juice, which is rich in vitamin C, could temporarily prevent some of the browning as some sort of deactivator. We left 2 halves of the avocado, once covered in lemon juice and one without the lemon juice, in the fridge for a day and found that lemon juice, in fact, helps preventing the avocado from turning brown. In conclusion, we haven't found the perfect recipe for guacamole as it depends on the taste of each individual person, but we have found some tricks that help making a very good guacamole.